Rain needles my face as the last shovel of dirt slaps the coffin. The sound is wrong, too final, too clean. My phone vibrates in my pocket. Unknown contact. I'm not dead. Come to the cemetery now. Lightning splits the sky, white hot, and for a heartbeat the headstone glows like a warning. I turn, breath sawing my chest, and see a shape moving between the graves. Someone lifts a hand. My mother's hand. A week earlier, my life had edges but no fractures. A third-floor walk-up over Bay City's Gray River. Freelance design gigs. A mother who texted me every Sunday like clockwork. Eat something green. Call me. Her name was Marin Hart. She painted storms and taught kids to see color in shadows. The call came while I was exporting a logo. A woman's voice, brittle. "Is this Lena Hart? This is Bay City General. I'm so sorry. Your mother passed this morning. Sudden cardiac arrest." "No," I said. "You're wrong." "I'm sorry," she said again, and the word lodged in my throat like glass. My father didn't sound surprised. Cole Hart spoke like he was checking a box. "It was quick," he said. "I'll handle things." Then the line went dead. 3 days later, the city drowned with me. Umbrellas bobbed like black birds. My father was absent, overseas on business. The coffin sank. A gust inverted my umbrella, snapped ribs screaming, and I whispered a promise into the rain. If he did this, I'll burn his world down. That night, lightning stalked the skyline. I scrolled old photos until my eyes ached. Marin laughing with paint on her cheek. Marin teaching me to lie with my eyes open. Then I saw my father's post, a beach, a younger woman, 2 flutes raised, new beginnings. Something inside me cracked and something else woke up. The text came minutes later, from my mother's number. "I'm not dead. Come to the cemetery now." I didn't think. I drove. Fog swallowed the gates. Lamps flickered like failing heartbeats. I called her name and heard only rain, until a figure stepped from the willows, coat soaked, hair plastered to a face I knew better than my own. "Lena," she whispered. I dropped the flashlight. Mud splashed my knees as I reached her. Her hands were ice. Her eyes were alive. "We can't stay," she said. "Your father tried to kill me." Headlights flared at the gate. An engine idled, patient, and somewhere behind us a phone buzzed again. We drove without headlights, coasting through alleys, until the city thinned into warehouses and fog. My mother, Marin, kept checking the mirrors like she expected my father's face to bloom in the glass. Her hands shook on the wheel. "He watched me sign papers while I was dying," she said. When I wouldn't, he smiled, like it was settled. I wanted to scream. Instead, I listened as she told me how a nurse friend swapped records, how a body bag left the hospital heavier than truth, how my father toasted a death he'd ordered like room service. We pulled into a storage yard by the river. A silver sedan waited under a tarp. "I can't be seen," she said. "Not yet." She pressed a burner phone into my palm. "If he calls, you answer." He did. 8 a.m. sharp. "Estate meeting tonight," Cole said, voice polished. "Signatures. Closure." "Sure," I said, tasting blood where I'd bitten my cheek. "Good girl." His house still smelled like money and bleach. He slid a folder across the desk. My mother's signature stared back at me. Perfect, practiced, fake. Behind him, a family photo reflected a steel safe half hidden by the frame. "I'm not signing," I said. The room cooled. "Grief makes people irrational," he murmured. "Sit?" "I won't." His eyes flicked. Safe, door, me, calculation. "Careful, Lena. Accidents happen." I left, smiling. At midnight, I used the key he forgot I had. The safe opened on my mother's birthday. Inside, offshore accounts, forged deeds, a flash drive labeled Q4. I copied everything, heart hammering, and slipped back into the rain. My phone lit up before I reached the car. You think I wouldn't notice? Then the call. "Come home," Cole said softly, "or I'll plan another funeral." I drove to the river yard. My mother listened, jaw set. "We don't run," she said. "We bleed him with his own knives." Headlights cut the fog. Tires crunched gravel. A knock slammed metal. "Lena," my father called, close now. "Open up." My mother squeezed my hand. Outside, the lock began to turn. The lock clicked. Metal scraped. I stepped forward before fear could argue. "Evening, Dad." Cole Hart filled the doorway, rain stitched into his suit like dark veins. His smile tried to rise and failed. "You look thinner," he said, eyes cutting past me, searching the shadows. "Grief does that." "Funny," I said. "You look relieved." He pushed in, boots leaving wet commas on the concrete. The storage yard smelled of oil and river rot. "Where is she?" he asked, voice flat. "You can stop pretending," I shrugged. "Pretending's your thing." The sound came from behind him, soft, deliberate. A breath. My mother stepped into the light, pale, alive. For 1 second the world paused. Cole's mouth opened, closed, his pupils blew wide. "No," he whispered. "I watched them zip the bag." "You watched paperwork," Marin said. "You watched me refuse." He laughed, thin and sharp. "This is extortion. You think a ghost scares me?" Sirens wailed in the distance. Not close, not yet. His gaze snapped to me. "You called someone." I held up the burner. "Everyone." He lunged. The first punch grazed my shoulder. The second cracked against a steel beam, bone on iron, and he howled. I tasted copper. My mother grabbed a pipe from the rack and swung. Not hard, just enough to remind him she existed. He staggered, fury boiling through the shock. "You ruined me," he spat. "I built everything. You were ballast." "You built lies," she said, "and you sank us." Headlights flared. Not police. Black SUV, tinted windows. 2 doors opened in sync. Cole smiled again. "Real this time. You should have run." Men moved fast. One grabbed my wrist, the other reached for my mother. I drove my knee up, felt it land, heard air leave lungs. The pipe rang. Someone shouted my name. A gun barked. The sound punched the night flat. The river swallowed the echo. I hit the ground hard, cheek burning, rain in my mouth. My vision tunneled. Boots circled. A hand yanked my hair back. Cole crouched, breath hot with whiskey and rain. "Last chance," he said softly. "Hand it over." I laughed. It came out wrong. Too late. Red and blue washed the yard like blood and water. Tires screamed, doors slammed, voices stacked, sharp and final. Cole stood, eyes empty now, as cuffs bit into his wrists. He looked at my mother like he was memorizing her for later. "This isn't over," he said. She met his stare. "It is for me." As they dragged him away, he twisted back to me, venom bright. "I taught you to lie," he said. "Remember that." I watched the SUV swallow him. My phone buzzed. One message, unknown number. "You forgot who taught you to survive." They took him screaming into the rain, but the quiet afterward was worse. Sirens faded. The river breathed. I realized my hands were shaking so hard my teeth clicked. My mother sat on a crate, pipe across her knees, eyes dry. "He'll pivot," she said. "Men like him always do." By morning, the pivot came. Every screen in the city bloomed with Cole Hart's face. Charity galas, ribbon cuttings, that practiced smile, now framed by words like investigation and allegations. His lawyers moved fast, faster than fear, They painted him wronged, betrayed, grieving. They painted us unstable. My phone filled with numbers I didn't know. "You should recant," one voice said. Another offered money. A third promised silence if I signed. At noon, a detective knocked. He was polite, exhausted. "We're missing a link," he said. "Your copies help, but the originals matter. Without them, he'll walk." The originals lived in one place, the house. That night, I went alone. I killed the lights 2 blocks out and parked under a jacaranda. The mansion glowed like a wound you couldn't stop touching. Inside, motion sensors slept. My father trusted routine more than people. His office smelled the same, leather and lemon. I opened drawers by memory, found nothing. The safe behind the photo was empty. A whisper of movement made my spine lock. "You always did this wrong," Cole said from the dark. "Too much faith." The light snapped on. He stood by the desk, hand wrapped in gauze, eyes bright with something like joy. "You think jail scares me? I own time." I backed toward the door. He stepped once, twice. "Where are the originals?" he asked. "Your mother doesn't get to win." "They're gone," I said. He smiled. "Then you are." Glass shattered somewhere below. Footsteps thundered. I ran. We crashed through the hall, my shoulder screaming as he clipped me. I vaulted the banister, hit carpet, rolled. The front door loomed, salvation with a handle. A shot punched the wall beside my head. Plaster snowed my hair. "Stop," he called, calm as a lullaby. "You're bleeding on my floor." I burst outside into rain and breath, stumbled to the gate. Tires screamed behind me. Headlights flared. I ran blind. At the corner, a van skidded sideways, blocking the street. Doors flew open, hands grabbed, a hood dropped. As the engine roared, my phone vibrated once in my pocket. "Marin, where are you?" I couldn't answer. The van swallowed the night. The hood smelled like oil and old cigarettes. My wrists burned, zip ties biting as the van tore through the city. Every turn snapped my teeth together. I counted seconds to stay conscious. 40, 60, 80. They dumped me in a room with concrete walls and a single bulb humming like a fly. The hood came off. 2 men, not thugs, professionals, clean shoes, empty eyes. "Where are the originals?" the taller one asked. "Lost," I said, "like your conscience." The punch came fast. White light. I tasted iron and laughed because it kept me awake. They worked methodically. Pain, pause, question, like a script they'd rehearsed. I gave them nothing. Hours later, the door opened. Cole stepped in, coat dry, rage pressed flat into a smile. "I told you," he said. "I own time." He crouched, thumb wiping blood from my lip. "Your mother thinks she's clever. She thinks truth wins. It doesn't. Endurance does." I met his eyes. "You taught me that." His smile faltered. A sound threaded the room, distant, rising. Sirens, closer than before. The tall man stiffened. "We need to move." Cole straightened, mask slipping. "Finish it." They hauled me up. The zip ties snapped. Deliberate mercy or a mistake? When the siren screamed right outside, the bulb shattered. Darkness. Chaos. I ran. I hit the door shoulder first, burst into an alley slick with rain and red-blue light. A body slammed me into brick. I elbowed, kicked, felt bone give. A hand grabbed my ankle. I stomped until it didn't. Headlights pinned the alley. I dove behind a dumpster as gunfire cracked, too loud, too close. Someone shouted my name. "Lena," my mother. She stood at the mouth of the alley, rain-soaked, pipe in hand like a talisman. Behind her, agents, weapons up. Cole appeared from the shadows, gun raised, eyes wild. "Drop it," he yelled at her. Both of you." She didn't. She stepped forward. "You already killed me once," she said. "You don't get to do it again." He fired. The shot tore past her ear and punched glass. Agents answered. Cole fell, screaming, clutching his leg. He tried to crawl, fury bleeding into panic. As they cuffed him, he craned his neck to find me. "You think this ends me?" he hissed. "You think prison erases what I am?" I wiped rain from my eyes. "No," I said, "it just stops you from touching us." They took him away, howling. In the quiet after, my mother folded me into her arms. I felt her heartbeat, fast, stubborn, alive. "Where are the originals?" she whispered. I smiled, teeth chattering. Safe. Across the street, a man watched from a parked car, phone glowing. When he drove off, I realized something cold and sharp. Cole hadn't been the only one playing this game. The man in the parked car haunted me more than my father's screams. By dawn, Cole Hart was locked in federal holding, but the city didn't exhale. Neither did I. The originals, real contracts, wire logs, recorded threats, sat in a safety deposit box under a name that wasn't mine. They were leverage, not victory. My mother knew it too. "Someone tipped him off," she said, staring at the gray water beyond the bridge. "Cole doesn't share power. If he had help, it was because someone wanted something he couldn't give." The help revealed itself before noon. A lawyer called, smooth voice, private number. "Ms. Hart," he said, "my client suggests a conversation. He believes there's been confusion." "Which client?" I asked. A pause. A smile in the silence. "A partner." We met at a hotel with mirrors everywhere. The man waiting wore a city council pin and a watch that cost more than my car. Adrian Klein, donor, fixer. The shadow behind half the skyline. "You have my documents," he said, pleasant as weather. Cole was sloppy. I am not. "I don't have anything," I said. He laughed. "You have everything. That's why you're still alive." He slid a phone across the table. Video loaded. My mother, yesterday, leaving the safe house. A red circle pulsed over the timestamp. "You leak," Klein continued, "and the story becomes about you exploiting a tragedy. You disappear into a legal maze. Your mother disappears into something worse." My pulse thundered. "What do you want?" "Silence," he said, "and the originals." I stood. "No," he sighed. "Then you misunderstand the rules." That night, the safe house burned. We arrived to smoke and sirens and the smell of melted plastic. Martha, our nurse angel, sat on a curb, shaking, soot on her cheek. "They came quiet," she said. I ran. My mother knelt in the wet grass, grief cutting lines into her face I hadn't seen before. "This is my fault," she whispered. "No," I said, "it's the map." We moved again, changed phones, changed names. I sent one package, copies of everything, to a reporter who hated Klein more than she feared him. I sent another to a judge whose sister had lost her house to one of Klein's projects. The third package went to Klein himself. Inside, nothing. Just a note. Tick. My phone rang an hour later. Unknown number. I answered. "You're bluffing," Klein said. "Am I?" I replied. Silence stretched. Then softly, "You're dead." "Get in line," I said, and hung up. Outside, rain started again, light at first, then harder. Somewhere, a clock began to move. The reporter ran the story at dawn. Not everything, just enough. By noon, Adrian Klein's name trended beside words like shell companies and zoning bribes. By 3, a subpoena hit his office. By sunset, he called me from a blocked number. "You made a mistake," he said, voice stripped of polish. "You think exposure protects you?" "I think it corners you," I said. He laughed once, sharp. Then you haven't checked your inbox. I opened my email, a calendar invite. Tonight. Location attached. A public place. A trap dressed like transparency. My mother read it over my shoulder. No, she said. This is how men like him end stories. This is how we end his, I replied. We chose the place ourselves, changed it last minute through the reporter, who loved the chaos. A glass-walled atrium downtown, cameras, witnesses, the kind of light predators hate. Klein arrived late, flanked by confidence and a legal team. He smiled for lenses, shook hands, performed regret. When he saw me, the smile tightened. You don't have the originals, he said quietly. Cole hid them better than you think. I know, I said. So did you. His eyes flicked, once, to the ceiling. I kept talking. Your offshore nodes mirror his, same accountants, same kill switch. You didn't just benefit, you planned. The reporter leaned in. Mr. Klein, care to respond? He didn't. He bolted. Security surged. Phones rose. Someone shouted. In the crush, a man brushed past me. Too close. Pain flared in my side. I looked down, blood blooming through my shirt. My mother caught me as my knees dipped. Stay with me, she said, fierce and calm. Across the atrium, Klein disappeared into an elevator just as it slammed shut. The doors reflected our faces. Mine, pale, hers steady. Sirens wailed again, closer now, angrier. As medics pressed gauze to my ribs, my phone vibrated. One message. Unknown number. You think truth bleeds me? I bleed cities. The elevator chimed somewhere above us, and then the power went out. Darkness swallowed the atrium. Glass groaned. Someone screamed. Emergency lights bled on in strips, painting faces red and wrong. I pushed through the pain and stood. He's running, I said. He'll try to erase the servers. My mother already knew. She was dialing, voice steady as a blade. Judge Morales, she said, now. The building hummed back to life in patches. Klein's elevator pinged, penthouse level. I ran for the stairs, ribs on fire, breath tearing. Every step echoed with the idea of him reaching a switch I couldn't see. On the landing, a door burst open. A man barreled into me, shoulder first. We went down hard, my head rang. He smelled like cologne and panic. You don't win, he snarled. And then he was gone, shoes slapping concrete. I clawed up and chased. The penthouse was a shrine to control. Screens, maps, money turned into light. Klein stood at the far console, fingers flying. Stop, I said. He turned, eyes bright with contempt. You're bleeding on my carpet. I always do, I said, and yanked the fire alarm. Sprinklers detonated. Water hammered the room, sparking screens, shorting wires. Klein howled and lunged for the backup. I hit him with everything I had. We crashed into glass. The city yawned below us. You think this ends me? He gasped, slipping. I built redundancy. So did I, my mother said. She stepped through the doorway, soaked, phone raised. On speaker, a judge's voice cut clean. Freeze. Klein laughed, and then the floor behind him blew. Not fire, doors. Agents poured in, weapons up, voices stacking authority. Klein sagged, strength draining as cuffs closed. He stared at my mother like he was seeing the future for the first time. As they took him, his phone chimed. A message lit the screen before an agent pocketed it. Cole, you promised. Outside, rain washed the city raw. I leaned against the wall, shaking, relief like gravity. My mother touched my cheek. We're not done, she said gently. But we're close. Below us, sirens braided into something like music, and somewhere deep in the building, a server powered down, too late to matter. The city didn't celebrate. It held its breath. Cole Hart and Adrian Klein were arraigned 48 hours apart, their names stitched together across every headline like a shared wound. Fraud, conspiracy, attempted murder. The words felt heavy, unfinished, because men like them don't stop fighting when the lights turn on. They fight quieter. The warning came from a public defender who wouldn't meet my eyes. "Your father's preparing a narrative," she said. "He's claiming coercion. He says you manipulated him, that your mother orchestrated everything." "They'll never believe that," I said. She hesitated. "Juries believe stories, especially simple ones." That night, my mother couldn't sleep. She sat at the window of our borrowed apartment, watching traffic smear into red and white veins. "I taught you how to see," she said softly. "I forgot to teach you how to disappear." "You didn't forget," I said. "You trusted the world to be fair." She smiled without humor. "That was my mistake." At dawn, a package arrived. No return address. Inside, a USB drive and a printed photo. Me, bleeding in the atrium, frozen mid-fall. On the back, a single sentence. "Truth is editable." We loaded the drive. Video played. Grainy, nighttime. My mother's face angled just wrong. Her voice, sliced, rearranged, saying things she'd never said. I planned it. I pushed him. He begged me. Deepfake, clean, convincing. My stomach dropped. "They'll leak this." "They already did," she said, nodding to the TV. The anchor's voice cut through the room. "New footage raises questions about the Hart case." Phones exploded. Commentators pivoted. Doubt bloomed like mold. "My father called from jail," I answered. "You see?" Cole said, calm, almost tender. "Endurance." "You're done," I said. "No," he replied. "I'm patient." He hung up. That afternoon, the judge set a hearing to determine admissibility. If the video stood, everything tilted. The reporter who'd helped us went quiet. The judge with the sister recused. "They planned this," I said. "From the start." My mother closed her eyes. "Then we end it the only way left." She opened a sketchbook I hadn't seen before. Inside, dates, names, colors coded like a map. Her paintings weren't just art, they were records. Every threat, every meeting, every time Cole thought she was just listening. "I never stopped documenting," she said. "I just hid it where he'd never look." "Where?" I asked. She met my eyes. "In plain sight." The hearing was tomorrow morning. Outside, rain began again, slow, deliberate. And somewhere, my father smiled, believing he'd finally won. The courtroom buzzed like a live wire. My father sat at the defense table, hands folded, face scrubbed into humility. Across the aisle, Adrian Klein stared straight ahead, jaw locked, already rewriting history in his head. Cameras waited. The judge adjusted her glasses. "Defense may proceed," she said. Cole's attorney rose, smooth and sorrowful. "We submit Exhibit D," he said. Newly surfaced video establishing motive and manipulation. The screen flickered. My mother's face appeared, warped just enough to be believable. Gasps rippled. Cole finally looked at us, a faint smile ghosting his mouth. Then my mother stood. "Objection," she said calmly. "And a demonstration." The judge hesitated. "Miss Hart." "Your Honor," my mother said, voice steady. "That video is a forgery, and I can prove it." She walked to the screen and held up a canvas. One of her paintings, abstract storms, slashed with color. "This," she said, "was painted the night my husband threatened me. Every color corresponds to a time stamp, every stroke to a word." She clicked a remote. The painting overlaid with data, dates, locations, audio waveforms. The room leaned forward. My husband believed I was coping, she continued. In truth, I was recording. She nodded to me. I plugged in the drive. The real footage filled the screen. Cole's voice, uncut. You'd be worth more dead than alive. Klein's laugh in the background. Plans, payments, names. The courtroom shattered into sound. Cole stood, shouting, denials piling over themselves. Klein swore, white-faced. The judge banged her gavel until the room obeyed. Sit, she ordered. Both of you. They did. The prosecution didn't smile. They didn't need to. By afternoon, the defense collapsed. The deepfake was dissected live by experts my mother had already lined up. Brush strokes as metadata, art as ledger. By dusk, the verdicts came like falling doors. Guilty, 30 years for my father. 25 for Klein, no parole guarantees, no speeches. As they led Cole away, he looked back once, eyes empty now. You survived, he said. My mother nodded. So did the truth. Outside, the rain finally stopped. Months later, we left the city. The coast took us in. Salt air, honest light. My mother painted again, not storms this time, open water, horizon. One evening, I asked her about the text, the one that brought me to the cemetery. She smiled, distant. I didn't send it. Then who did? She shrugged. Maybe the same thing that always does. What's that? Justice, she said softly. When it's tired of waiting. The ocean breathed. The past loosened its grip. We were alive. And this time, nothing was buried.